G'day YouTube, my name's Lance and welcome to Bundy Bear's Shed. Well, the weather report, look, it's just lovely, beautiful weather. Look, we're in the mid-teens to the mid-20s, so the night times might get down to the mid-teens, you know, even down to 12. We have no cold snaps last week, haven't taken a coat to work at all, but yeah, look, this through the day at the moment, you know, mid-20s, it's just lovely. You can get a fair bit done. And the little tractor I bought through the week, I was out the front of the shed with that on Saturday, and yeah, look, it was warm. So look, it was just lovely. Dave and Steve and some of you blokes overseas, I see on our TV the other day 33.4 in England. And so yeah, you blokes will be feeling that. I believe it's for a day or two, and but yeah, look, just get your shorts and your singlet on and a pair of flip-flops, thongs, and yeah, look, just enjoy yourself. That's Queensland weather. We have early to mid-30s, look, probably for 4, 5, 6 months of the year. So at the moment in winter we're getting mid-20s, so and sometimes, you know, when you're in high 30s, it's a bit much sometimes. You don't get a lot done. It seems to zap the energy out of you. But so yeah, you poor buggers over in England and Northern Hemisphere, I believe you're copping a bit of a heat wave. Even some of my followers in the States, I've seen a couple of you fellas kicking up, getting too hot, and I see a few other fellas cutting hay, and on the Massey Ferguson 100 series page and the FE35 series page and all that sort of thing, there's a lot of people cutting hay over there now, so I presume the cold's gone and you've had enough weather to grow a nice body of hay, and then you're getting your old vintage machinery out playing with it. So look, that's a good thing. It's nice to watch, and you know, little videos here and there of what people are doing around the world. That yeah, the whole Facebook, YouTube thing ties us all together a little bit, and we can get a little glimpse of each other's lives and how we go. A few weeks back I showed you the Rhodes grass in the paddock, and all the seeds dropped now, so I jumped on the John Deere 2030 over the weekend, or yesterday morning, and I've slashed the whole place now, and look, it's looking $1 million. It really looks nice. The 2030, I reckon it's got a slight little hydraulic chatter coming into it. I'll go this week. I'll grab a new tranny filter and I'll check that out. I don't know, after a couple of hours on it, you tune into a little slightly different noise, and everything's been working fine. No complaints with how it worked or run. It's just I reckon I can just hear something something that wasn't there before anyway. So perhaps next week we'll drop a filter in there and have a look. Max Grant, jump onto YouTube on Max Grant's Swan Valley Machine Shop site. He gave me a shout out the other day. I sent him a sticker and he gave us a shout out, so thanks Max. Max is one of these blokes with big beards, and he's nearly as good looking as me, but anyway, there you go, that might get him going. And yeah, look, he's a pretty keen machinist. He's yeah, he knows his way around all these bits and bobs in his shed. So look, go and see Max. Shout him a bit of a subscription if you haven't done so already. This weekend's been flat out. Oh, Kelly dog's just taken off. There's a kangaroo dead across her slashed paddock, so she's off. But by the time I turn the camera around, it'll be all over. But yeah, it's Monday morning, and oh man, what a busy weekend. I haven't got half of the stuff I was going to do done, and a fella come to see me through the week. There was a tractor that came out of a cane harvester, and it was a Massey Ferguson 135 multi-power. And if you remember a month or so ago at the car show, he come to speak to me about it and asked would I be interested in it. And out of the cane harvester, they have no front axle under them. They've actually cut the bolster out and things like that. But he said, look, it's done 750 hours. He believes them to be original, and he says starts and runs nicely, and he bought it. I'm not sure if he actually took it out of the cane harvester, but if you look up Crichton, Massey Ferguson Crichton cane harvester, you'll find a picture of it. And my mate Davey Rocket, the other day, he's from a cane farming family in our area, and I hit him up and said, you haven't got any old photos of those Crichton harvesters? And he's a little bit older than me. He's about 61, and he said, he can remember riding his push bike home from school flat out because they were having a cane harvesting field day at his, in his area anyway. Whether it was his place or not, I can't recall. But he's given me a couple of old faded photos of the old Massey Ferguson Crichton harvesters with the 135s as the power plant. And the 135s as a power plant, they actually turned them around and they run them backwards. They run a lot of the stuff off the PDO, but they also, with the multi-power pump on the side, they took a supply out, and I believe they run that up to a Danfoss steering unit, and that gave them power steering on the front of the harvester. And you'll sort of see in the photo what that looks like. So I'll probably take a break here and just pop a couple of photos in, just so you can see what I'm flapping my gums about. And that's what the harvester looks like. Now, a bit of a grainy photo, but look, they're 50 years old, and those photographs, so, or thereabouts anyway. I think he's had them changed at some stage, but so I imagine they may have been black and white even to start with, but who knows? I'm not sure about that at all. But anyway, this fella come in last week, and he'd been in and I'd been away, and he came in again last week and said, was I still interested in this tractor? And he gave me a photograph of it and said what the story was. He actually got the cane harvester, got the power plant out of the cane harvester, and in the sugar cane, for those who know sugar cane or don't know sugar cane, it can grow 8, 9, 10 foot tall, and sometimes you can get a bit of a vine, a few weeds grow in it. So what they do in the area here is sometimes they get old tractors and they put chain drives down and they pick them up, and look, the seat of the tractor will be 6 foot off the ground, and you sit up there and you put a tank underneath down the rows, and you run through with booms and you spray the weeds, and there's like a little leg goes down in between the sugarcane rows, right on the ground, because the weeds are down the bottom end, and by spraying down the bottom of the sugarcane, your herbicide isn't getting on the leaves up the top and getting absorbed into the sugarcane. Things like Roundup and glyphosate, things like that. And so anyway, there's a little ultralight going across the top now. And but anyway, he bought this tractor, and he had the intention of making an inter-row sprayer out of it, because you don't use the front axle or all that sort of thing, and they actually run chain drives down the bottom, and you have your Fergie rims down the bottom, and you run chain drives from the bottom. I'll see if I can find a photo somewhere. There may be one I can find and tack onto it here somewhere. But so he got it, and with the multi-power, everyone knows in the low multi-power they can overrun a little bit and you have no engine braking. So to be safe, he bought it in around 2010, and in 2011 he took it into the local dealership here, and he got the multi-power disabled, so it didn't have that overrun function. And I actually have that docket. He gave me the docket as well, and they spent $815 in 2011 to disable the multi-power. So I was keen to have it because of the multi-power. I thought, it shouldn't be too much. When me and a few of the other blokes in town, we disable the multi-power for someone, you strip the box, you machine up a 40mm spacer and lock that overrun in, and you leave the multi-power pump there and the hose and all that, and that supplies oil to lubricate the front bearing of the gearbox and all that. So we got the multi-power disabled in this tractor, and he took it home, started sandblasting the side of it, getting it ready to put a coat of paint on and, you know, sit it up on the frame, and he never went through with it. So he's now retired and sold most of his farm off, and so anyway, after it's sitting in his shed for many years, he offered it to me. So Saturday morning I went out and picked it up, and we did a deal, and I brought it home, and look, it was cheap, very cheap. And I brought it home and had a look, and I thought, oh well, I don't know whether it'll be a parts tractor, or is there enough there to make another 135 out of it. There's no serial number tag on the dash, and you can see there never has been one. So I'd say when they did the harvester, up in the harvester controls, there was a serial number there. But my 135 6-speed is a 1966 model, and this engine number is 130 or 40, 100 and something engine serial numbers after the 6-speed engine. So I can presume it's a 1966 machine. It's got diff lock and all that sort of thing. So he said he hadn't started it for a few years, but it did run well. So I've actually done a video walk around, and I'll put that in on the end here somewhere. But at the time when I was doing the video walk around on Saturday, just to show you what I had, I was saying about, you know, might get it going, or might be a parts tractor, or, you know, which way, but we've made the decision now that it's going to be a parts tractor. And there's a couple of reasons for that, but we'll go into that a little bit later. But I thought, first thing, I'll start this engine up, and he said, oh, you know, we've put new filters on, but he said, we've never run it since we put the new fuel filters on, so you'll have to bleed it. And I was thinking, oh, one of these bloody things. But look, I put a battery on it, bled it out, touched the key. Well, it wouldn't have turned over 3 times and it was running. And look, it runs beautifully. And I thought, well, I wonder if this hour meter works. So he had the hour meter there, but he had it undone because he was planning on painting the tractor and that. So the hour meter cable, the tacho cable's good. The hour meter, the tacho works. It's a bit sticky, the needle sticks and flicks and mucks around, but the cable's good. So it's got 750 hours, and I was going to compression test the engine just to see what I had, but look, I really believe it's done 700 hours. I can go to it any time now, just touch the starter, boom, off she goes, and no smoke. I run it for probably 2 or 3 hours on Saturday afternoon, and I had it revving and idling and mucking around. It's a little bit over full of oil. And look, the oil pressure's beautiful, but as it's winding, your oil pressure's off the end of the gauge. It's an original Smith's gauge in the dash. The temp gauge doesn't work, and the cooling system looks a bit gungy. But look, what we've got out of it in real terms is we've got a great engine that we can use as a spare. I don't need an engine for the 6-speed, I did that one up. I don't need the engine for my multi-power trekking tractor. Look, it starts and runs beautifully. I've done the slashing, topping with it, and but there's a lot of other stuff on it, and you'll see in the video there's no hydraulic cover on it. It's just a flat plate. Well, guess what I've been looking for the I was going to make for the trekking tractor. So we've looked at a few scenarios with it, and we reckon as a parts tractor it'll be far more beneficial to us. So I'm going to pull the engine out and stick the engine away. I've got these 3 4-cylinder diesel 35s over here. 2 of them are a deluxe model, which is a dual clutch and all that. And look, I'm thinking seriously about putting this engine into one of the 35s, put the 135 back end into a 35 with the diff lock and all that, and all of a sudden you've got a 35X, which I haven't got. So it won't be original, but look, that's possible. Another couple of things is on the trekking tractor, the fuel tank's had a log dropped across it, and I have an aftermarket one here that I thought I'd put on it. I've got a perfectly good fuel tank there, so even though I sell aftermarket parts for a living, I like everyone else, I really like to use original parts if I possibly can. So I can take that fuel tank I've had tucked away back to work, put it in our stock and sell it off and use this tank here. So we've saved, I don't know, $300 there or something like that. So now we've got the plate off that to put on the multi-power tractor. Some of you will be disappointed in this, but it just makes sense to do it. I was going to pull the rock shaft off the 135 multi-power and just tuck it away, but I know it's working well, it looks good. I'm actually going to lift that off and I'm going to put it on the 6-speed. I do have the 6-speed housing lift cover stripped. I did a video on that in the 135 6-speed videos, and I will get to putting one together one day. But look, I've got all the parts there brand new, all the little rollers, the levers, the whole lot, all sitting here brand spanking new. I can pop that rock shaft on the 6-speed, you know, to save it sitting around. Those parts I can take back to work, I can put into stock and until I need them again, and I may possibly sell them and you know, replace them as time goes by, rather than have parts just sitting here. I lifted the top off the, when I took the top off the 135 and looked down inside, they used to run a lot of stuff off the PDO gear on ground speed on the cane harvester, and there's a couple of teeth broken off on the PDO gear, so that's no problem. The 135 6-speed, the rear PDO shaft is absolutely rooted. I do have a brand spanking new aftermarket PDO shaft there to put on it. I have a perfectly good one here that's not worn hardly at all, so I can take the PDO shaft and all that out of the parts tractor and put in the 6-speed, you know, new seals and bearings and all that. But once again, I have a new shaft here. I'll probably take it back to work and put it back through the system. On the 135 6-speed, I have a brand new hydraulic pump sitting in a box here. Now they're worth hundreds and hundreds. The pump on this tractor works beautifully, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to pull the pump out of this new 135 and put it into 6-speed. That way I've got a brand new hydraulic pump sitting tucked away. If you remember, when I pulled it out on the 6-speed, the pump was buggered and we had to replace it. So we've got a beaut hydraulic pump. It pumps like a beauty. So we're going to put that pump on in the 6-speed. And all this will speed the 6-speed up a little bit. The only thing you'll probably miss out on seeing is me doing up the hydraulic cover, but look, we may do that. These 35s here, similar hydraulic cover, they'll probably need doing anyway, so hopefully I'll be able to do a video on that for you coming up sometime. The clutch on the 6-speed, I've got it pulled apart, and it was an aftermarket one, and I've got the other bits all sandblasted, new plates, but the clutch looks really good in this. So yeah, we may be able to have some benefit there as well, who knows. So it's got good tyres on it. It's got 12.75 28s on the back, and boy are they tall. They're up to my pocket. I'm 6'2", and they're up to my pocket, and I've even got 13.6 28s on a grey Fergie on the barn find tractor, and they're taller than that. But they could go onto one of my other tractors that have, everyone's got a couple of tractors with tyres that go down, so they'll probably go onto a tractor, and I'll do a bit of a mishmash mix of that. So, and look, in reality, the price I paid for the tractor, the tyres are worth more. It was a cheap tractor. The dash is good. Oh, another thing, on the 135 6-speed, it had a fire under the dash, and it had an aftermarket air cleaner that didn't quite fit in. The 135 parts tractor has the genuine air cleaner, the nice brackets, hasn't had a fire in it, and if we use that motor in a 35, all that becomes redundant really, and we use the 35 parts. But so the front bolster where the axle is on the parts tractor, they cut the guts out of that and they put a double pulley on for a power steering pump. So look, we've made the decision. It's going to be a parts tractor. We're going to strip it. I don't like stripping tractors normally. I can see good in everything worth doing up, but with these two 135s with the 6-speed and the multi-power, we can certainly save a lot of money doing it. And by not using the fuel tank and the brand new hydraulic pump we have here and the PDO shafts and all that, well, look, it's probably $1,000 worth of parts that we can put back into our system, and they're always there at work if I need them. You know, we cycle parts through a lot, but I'm fine. I keep a lot of parts at home here, and I have boxes full of parts for my restorations. But yeah, some of it I'm going to start leaving them at work till I'm ready, because sometimes I'm going to do this, so I grab all the parts and sit them here ready, so when I want to do a video I'm right to go. So look, that's enough out of me for today. I might take you for a quick walk outside. I've taken a video of the parts tractor, but that was a Saturday morning walk around before I knew which way I was going. So the parts tractor out there, the way they have it set up, it doesn't have a steering box on it either. I do have, if you remember when I was doing the 6-speed steering box, I had a new shaft and new gears that I kept tucked away. So I could make a steering box for it if I needed to, but if we do a repower on one of these 135s, we've already got a steering box. They're the same box. The only difference is the top extension where it bolts onto the dash. That's slightly different on a 135 compared with a 35. And for the multi-power tractor, where the tree went over it and it's been panel beaded and half the side of the dash, half the side of the bonnet is rusted out. And a new bonnet for a 135, look, you're looking at over $1,000, no worries at all. This bonnet here, it's got a really good top on it on the parts tractor. One side, on the right hand side, must have been where it was left to the weather sometimes. That piece is a bit crook, so I'm going to have a look and see if I can make one good bonnet out of two, and there's another saving there. So look, it's all looking good with the parts tractor. It's nice to have some genuine gauges and things like that, which I'm gonna use if I can. But yeah, that's how we're going. It's got a hitch on it, and I've just shifted my ute and the gold tractor out of here, and we're going to slide it in next to the 6-speed, so it's in out of the weather to strip. And yeah, like a 35 with a diff lock back end and all that sort of thing will look, it may be well on the cards. So there, look, that's what's happened this week. I had visitors yesterday, and oh boy, slashed the paddock and had visitors, and Saturday I got the tractor and I busted into work. I had visitors all afternoon and halfway into the night. Worst of being so bloody popular, I suppose. But anyway, it's been a real busy weekend to date. So today I'm going to try and get that tractor in, get the oils drained out, and with the 135 6-speed, with BLM taking the, yeah, I've got a couple of minutes, I've got a little time. When they disabled the multi-power, they actually took the multi-power pump and the hose that goes into the front, they took it. And so it's not there at all. So I'm going to strip that multi-power box and see what's wrong. We usually leave the pump there and that hose there, and the auxiliary hydraulic supply, and that hose going to the front keeps the front needle bearing all lubricated, but for some reason BLM took that out of it. So it's got no multi-power pump or anything on this tractor, so, and no hose going up the front. So it's going to be interesting stripping that. So I've got two multi-power boxes. The multi-power on my trekking tractor, if it needs a couple of parts, I may be able to take them out of this gearbox in the parts tractor, or if they haven't done too much bad to that, I may buy a multi-power pump and make myself a 35 multi-power or something like that. So look, that's that for this week. I'll tack on the video at the end here of the walk around my parts tractor so you can see what I've been talking about all this time. Have a good week, everyone. hopefully I can get a few tractor videos done today if I get left alone. And we'll see how we go, but the rate I'm going, God, not looking real good. Oh, the loader frame's on the John Deere. I've got that finished, so I've had some progress for the weekend. So, all right, thanks for that. We'll see you next week and have a good week, eh?